Hello and welcome back to the Squash Bagel. So today we'll be reviewing the Karakal T Pro 120, which is this racket here, I think used by Tesni Murphy, which used to be Tesni Evans, and Greg Lobban. If you haven't seen my first impressions review, obviously I'll give a link in the description below to see what exactly I thought about the racket as soon as I got it. At this moment in time, the only thing that I've really changed is the grip, haven't changed strings, and just done the review based on that and a few hours worth of play with the racket. And the structure of the video, as always, is going to be the general characteristics or profile of the racket, the pros, the cons, and what I think this racket may be for. And without further ado, let's go. So the Karakal T Pro 120 is a traditional shape racket from Karakal. They've got a couple of these, or they had a couple of these. This is basically what you'll have as a Cameronpilley series. I think he was probably the most popular Karakal player with this frame and shape. There was a 130 version. I don't think there is one any longer, but at least not in South Africa. There's this 120 version. Last year they had one. Obviously now they do have one this year again, and it is quite a popular model from them. And I think for some people, for some players that I know of, if they've used Karakal before, it has a very different feel compared to some of the other rackets, and they swear by it. And I think it's one of those rackets where, you know, you're either a fan of it or you're not a fan of it. With regards to the characteristics, obviously we have spoken about the fact that it is a traditional shape racket from their websites, and we just obviously going to look and speak about some of the things that I can confirm and can see. Frame rate of 120, I think it came in at 148 grams all in. Could be a bit lighter. I think I have seen a bit lighter online, as also there will be factory tolerances. Obviously it will never be the same everywhere across the board, but a frame weight of 120 grams, got a head size of 470 square centimeters, which is quite, I wouldn't say small, just a bit bigger than the 120 slash. This will be a rival to the slash 120, same weight, same frame weight, obviously slightly bigger head, but still zoned in a little bit more controlled at 470 square centimeters. It's a 14 by 18 string pattern, a balance point of 360, quite evenly balanced, although some, I think initially I would probably lean it towards a little bit head heavy. I'll speak about that in a bit now, because as I did mention, I have changed the grip, and when I say change the grip, it is so thin around the handle that I actually was able to put in two grips. So there are actually two grips here, which make it seem like a normal size grip. Karakal do have their own grip pattern, as you can see obviously with the shape that they do have here. And for some people it will suit them, for some people like me, I didn't actually find that I liked it. So putting on an extra grip obviously made sure that it felt a little bit more oval or a little bit more uniform compared to all the other rackets that I have played with. It comes with the hot zone braided string, obviously in black. Just look at their website if there's anything else I have missed out. It comes obviously fitted with a Karakal PU grip, an eco fleece cover. Not all places, I've seen some places, especially in the UK, some of them don't come with covers. It's something that you have to buy, so I guess they're making more money by selling covers now. That seems a bit odd, but on our side we do get it with a cover, or we got it with a cover. Apart from that, there is a feature I have covered up there, but karakalsquashrackets have a sort of the Karakal symbol somewhere around here on the grip, and that is an internal dampener which minimizes vibration. So that's one thing you can definitely say about this racket. There was little to no vibration in obviously striking, but we'll speak about some of the pros and cons there. Only other thing I can say in terms of the orange, just looking on camera when I saw the last video and even when I see it now, the orange that is on here doesn't seem as bright as it actually is in real life. That's obviously got to do with the lighting situation here, which has obviously tainted or at least made this a little bit more dim, just in terms of how bright this racket is. It is a lot brighter than what it looks like on screen, so that's obviously something, if you are into those colors and colorways, I think probably just go look at Tesni Murphy and Greg Lobban. I think you'll be able to see how orange it is on court, obviously from their sort of videos, but where we are sitting right now, where I'm sitting right now and recording, you won't be able to see how orange it is. Oh yeah, Karakal have what they call their next-gen fast fiber graphite construction, so that's obviously the material that they have made it with. It's something that they have been doing in their rackets for quite a long period of time. This muscle weave technology, as they call it, I think it's sort of the bridge pattern that they have here for durability. So yeah, Karakals are just unique. Obviously you'll have a traditional shape and a teardrop, and I think they do have some hybrids, but they're just very unique in some of the small features with regards to technology that they do have in the racket. They've got what they call 4 nano graphite nodes that also smooth out vibration, increase stiffness for more power and control. So you'll see sort of a little bulge in this corner, that corner there, that corner there, and that corner there. And as I said, or as their website says, it's obviously to smooth out vibration as well as increase the stiffness and give it more power and control. They are a very different type of racket compared to some of the other competitors that are out there, but designed in the UK, not too sure where it's manufactured, but really cool, really nice. Without further ado, let's talk about the pros. With regards to the pros about this racket, let's talk about at least what it comes with. There's an internal dampener, so that's one thing that's quite cool. You don't have to spend money on other dampeners. It comes with a Karakal PU grip. As I had mentioned, obviously the shape might suit some people. For some people, they obviously want to do something else different. They come with their premium string, or one of their premium strings, probably not their best string, but a really good string in general. Durability, I won't say has never been questioned, but I really do like the durability of Karakals that I felt before. I have reviewed a Joel Macon Raw Pro 2.0 as well, and as I told you, never had any issues, haven't heard of people having any issues. But if you have had issues, obviously leave something in the description, or in the comment section, and then you obviously chat to me about that. It's obviously always nice to spread information and let people know about some of the things that you've experienced if you have used this racket. With the smaller head size, you are getting a little bit more control. As I said, 470 square centimeters is quite it's on the smaller end of rackets, which means that there's a more honed in sweet spot. 14 by 18 string pattern, even though in such a small head, obviously will still deliver a lot more power. They've got their own technology, and it's quite a stiff frame, so you are going to get a lot more power compared to the Slash. That will be a very difficult one, because that is the best comparison I do have, since it is 120 gram frame weight. I would feel that this is a little bit more stiff. I would feel that at a right tension, I haven't restrung this one, this will probably give you a little bit more power than the Slash itself. With regards to control, that is sort of going to be a 50-50 split. I'm not too sure which will give you a lot more control between this one and the Slash. It's been a while since I tested the Slash 1, but also 2, but the Slash obviously comes with the Technifiber 305 1.2s in it. And I think this racket with a Technifiber 305, either the 1.2 or X1 biphase or Dynamax, if you do like the black kind of color, will definitely enhance it. Nothing wrong with the Karakal strings, but obviously in the control aspect, I really do like the Technifiber strings, or maybe some of the Ashaways. Not all Ashaways, but some of the Ashaways will do. Or I prefer those, so possibly something that you can put into this. As I said, on my side, durability wise, I've had the 130 gram version of this one before. Had that for years, never had a question with durability, but at the same time, every player is different. Some of the other pros, it does come with a bumper strip, and I'm going to say that that's going to be a pro because of the fact that some people are sort of put off with the bumperless technology, with some brands coming up with, obviously the most famous being Technifiber at the moment. Some people like it. I'm not a big fan of it, obviously due to the fact that it wears, but this does come with a bumper. How easy it is to get to your bumper strip is, I'm not too sure, but it's very different in terms of the fact that it's actually a more durable, I don't know what you want to call it, it's a different material that they've put on here as a bumper, which is quite nice. It has a very glossy feeling, which makes it sort of easier to scrape walls off the wall. Not exactly to the extent of a Technifiber X-Tops, but it's something different compared to some of the cheaper plastics that you'll get as a bumper strip. Obviously, as advantages or pros that we're talking about, very lightweight and 120 grams, very maneuverable through the air. I have said obviously control is great, power is great. I see people who love to, I will actually talk about that when it gets to who it's for, but I think if you are looking to dominate all areas of the court, but probably if you love your straight line hitting, this is a really great racket for you. As I said, very maneuverable, so being able to pick up the pace or slow the game down, I feel that it was quite nice to do so. Only thing that we'll talk about in the, I guess, cons about it comes down to how comfortable you feel with the racket. So let's talk about cons. With respect to cons, and I think I want to mention that it's probably not a con for everyone, but it's down to preference. I wasn't a fan of this whole grip system, and I know I said I have used it in the past, and I believe it did have it, but I'm not too sure what I did back then to sort of counteract it. Probably I might have used one of those rib grips, which sort of makes it fit a little bit better in my hand, and I did use a 130 gram version, not the 120, so I just didn't feel super comfortable with in certain parts of the court just because of the grip. I think that's why I had to obviously double up on the grip. Once doing that, it felt a lot more comfortable. I don't know what I would do if I would want to, let's say, put a third grip on there to make it super fat or super big. that's one of the things that I found with it. With the small head size, like many other rackets with a small head size, can be unforgiving. So you obviously may need to make sure you've got your timing down. And I think that would help some players which want to obviously get or improve their striking of the ball. Something like this can help because it is a very unforgiving racket. But it can obviously give you the sort of feeling that you need to improve your ball striking, and if you improve your ball striking, hit it dead center. Wow, yeah, it has got a lot of power. Other things that I found as a con to this racket, not much more to be honest with you, and I'm obviously being a little bit strict compared to some other racket reviews that I've done, obviously knowing a lot more about rackets as time has progressed. I just find that I am becoming very picky in giving rackets big pros and big cons. But yeah, all around it's a solid racket. I really can't pick it apart too much, apart from the fact that maybe it's not for me. So who would this racket be for? I think depending on your playing style, as you've seen, Greg Lobban is obviously someone that's quite athletic, likes to obviously change up pace, very comfortable playing a slow ball, something that I saw when he played Jonah Bryant, obviously in the Manchester Open. Tesni Evans as well, someone who loves to sort of also play sometimes a slower ball, be very creative. The racket is very maneuverable, still giving you the power that you need. But I don't think if you are a sort of one-dimensional player, this is a racket for you. Unless you are probably, I wouldn't want to call Omar Mossad one-dimensional, but a person that I could feel would enjoy a racket like this is someone who has a playing style like Omar Mossad, which is, or as I said, Greg Lobban. So on two extremes, one who's very creative, but at the same time loves the straight line hitting, and Omar Mossad obviously was someone that really loved the straight line hitting. It could change in terms of my preference or my idea behind the racket if someone obviously had to change not only the grip, make it a bit thicker. I think I've seen Greg Lobban seems to have quite a thick grip on his racket. I'm not too sure about Tesni Murphy. I didn't pay too much attention to obviously her setup, and it's very hard to try and find sort of player setups on how thick they make the sort of their grip and what tension they have in their rackets. Obviously it's sort of closed off information, it's quite private, or sometimes they do share it, but to find that information is quite difficult. I feel if you are a player looking for something a little bit more maneuverable, something with a sort of smaller sweet spot, not smaller sweet spot, but a little bit more honed in control and accuracy, you will probably find this is a decent racket. Something I probably forgot to mention in the cons, at least for me, I found it quite stiff, and I think if you do like a stiff frame, this could be great for you. Obviously partnering with a little bit of a softer string could be quite nice. But I don't know, it's I won't say it didn't impress me, no, I just don't think it's right for me. But I can't actually fault the racket. There's not actually much wrong with it, to be honest. It's actually quite a nice racket in general. I'll probably put it at a 6.5 out of 10 in terms of rackets that I've tested out, and that's just only because I didn't like some parts about it. For some reason it didn't fit the shape of my hand, and as I said, maybe it would be something about changing grips. I'm not keeping the racket for a very long period of time, so obviously I can't do too much to it. It will also cost quite a bit to keep on changing strings, finding the right tension. It's not something that I sort of immediately fell in love with for me to sort of commit to and say, well, you know what, let me take this racket out for a few months and actually play my league matches with it. But at the same time, I do have a sort of a friend from the squash club that I play at, Warren May, who used to use the Diego Elias, the Ultimate 132. He got his hands on this. He also has the previous versions of these, and he is completely convinced that this racket has changed his game. He's also going to the point where he's completely leaving the Ultimate 132s and going over to this. So for some people, it is, groundbreaking. It's really nice, especially the power that it comes with. And I think that's probably the highlight of this racket, is actually the power for such a small head size. So I think that's the best way to summarize it. Amazing power for a racket head size which is so small, and that will obviously give you all the control. So I think if you like the maneuverability of a traditional if you like traditional shape rackets, if you like the maneuverability but you do not want to lose the power, I think this is actually the racket for you. I don't think it's quite beginner friendly. I think if you're an intermediate to advanced squash player, this will probably be a quite nice racket for you. Apart from that, as I said, I can't fault the racket. It's actually quite nice. It's just the handle, and I know it's something to sort of a bit harsh to base a whole video on. That's obviously my honest impression about it. I would love to hear what you guys have to think. If you are using this, please let me know what it is that you love about this racket, what you think about this racket. If you use it, tell me if you agree, if you give it a 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10, 5 out of 10. if you have used it and tried it and you want to move on to something else, then let me know. I would love to hear what other people's opinions are of it. As I said, I've obviously spoken to one person that has used it and they love it, and from my side, it's not a bad racket, it's not a bad buy, it's actually probably another pro. It seems reasonably priced compared to some of your other rackets out there. It's probably a good alternative to the Technifiber Slash because of the fact that it has a bumper, similar head size, obviously just a little bit bigger, but same frame weight. So that's about that, probably even better durability. But as I said, if you've got any sort of questions, comments, contributions to the discussion, please leave a comment down below and we'll catch you next time. Without further ado, cheers.